Hello, good morning. This is 𝗪𝗲𝗧𝗦 from MassMailer. Thank you so much for joining the webinar today. Today I'm going to talk about a very simple topic on how to manage users in MassMailer. I keep getting questions on how to use this, and sometimes people are users would tend to go to Salesforce to manage licenses. So I thought maybe it is important for me to actually just go clarify um, what are you supposed to do and what are you not supposed to do when you're trying to manage users. So I'm sure most of you are familiar with MassMailer and how MassMailer app works, but again, not all of you may be familiar with user management because it's an administrator job. And first of all, if you're not an admin in MassMailer or in Salesforce, please have your admins also go to this webinar. Or you would be getting a recording after this. So share this video with your admin users so that they also can take a look at it and make sure that they do it in the right way. So there's only one thing that you should really remember when it comes to user management in MassMailer. You have to manage users right within MassMailer UI. That is nothing but MassMailer setup. That's something that you should always remember. Hey, I need to have access to MassMailer setup in order to manage users in MassMailer. Please do not ever add or delete licenses directly in Salesforce. I'll show you where to go and actually add users and where not to go as well. I'll show both of them. So the first two statements that I have it in the summary is what is important. The green is the right thing to do, and the red is not the right thing to do. So you would manage users only in MassMailer user interface under MassMailer setup. Again, not everybody would have access to MassMailer setup tab, so only MassMailer admin will have access to that. So if you do not have access, that's okay. All it means that there's another user, admin user, who would have access to MassMailer setup. Make sure that they do this. So basically, we have provided a very simple interface on that particular page where you would just go add, delete, or edit users under MassMailer setup. And you can add multiple users. Also, there's one corner case scenario where you can actually add the permission set to non-MassMailer users only when they want to trigger any custom flow created by your team. Such as, like, let's say you want to send a lead response and your salespeople are trying to edit a lead and put them in a drip campaign, or, send a response email, something on those lines. And you created a custom flow, but they're not MassMailer users. Those users who are editing those records are not MassMailer users. And if you want them to trigger an email, you can do that. They don't need to have MassMailer license, but they still have to have permission set. And that's the reason why we have come up with this option where you can assign permission set to non-MassMailer users only to trigger flows, nothing else. They can't really access MassMailer UI, just to let you know. This is only for the flow permissions, nothing beyond that. So there's only one page where you can do all of this, and I'm actually going to show you that as well. And I'll show you where not to go. So this is going to be a very quick webinar. So let's browse through some of these UI elements, and I'll also log into Salesforce and show it to you. If you're familiar with MassMailer setup page under users, is where so the user subtab, I mean, MassMailer setup, and then user subtab. You would find this page where you can actually edit. And so there's a pencil icon for you to edit, and then you can delete with a trash icon. And then if you want to add, there's a plus icon. So there's only 3 buttons that you should be familiar with, and then that's all what you need to know. And then there are 2 columns. One is the username, as you can see, first column, and the license type. And the third column is a MassMailer admin or not admin. Those are three things that you should really be knowing. I know a lot of people make mistake, and for them, it's very important that you should manage users only in this particular page. So the only three operations that you could do in this particular table, that is edit, delete, or add, and make sure that you know the license type. So majority of the times you would need full access user with admin or without admin, and read-only user. There are two more licenses types that we have, but again, not everybody uses them. Those are for the community portal. And that's it. And then if you ever wanted to assign multiple users, because you have maybe 100 users and you don't want to do one at a time, you can always assign multiple users by clicking on that button called Assign Multiple Users, and it'll take you to this particular page. I've just shown you a snippet of what it is. So you basically search through multiple users with some criteria, and then pick multiple records, and then select what license type it is, whether they're admins or not admins, and then add. Very simple, again, nothing complicated. And then non-MassMailer users, if you ever wanted to assign the permission set, you're not really assigning a license. You need to remember that for non-MassMailer users who are actually going to trigger any flow kind of a thing, only for them you can assign permission set. And again, it's a very simple UI. When you click on that button, it brings up like a dialog box where you can actually search through those non-MassMailer users and assign them permission set. This doesn't give them access to MassMailer UI. Again, I just want to stress it. So it only gives them the permission set so that they can trigger any flows to send out emails, but they cannot access MassMailer UI just with the permission set. They need to have a license. So that just, in case you need that. And then where you should not go. So never go to Salesforce setup, install packages and bring up MassMailer. There's a way to manage licenses here. You should never go to that particular page to manage your licenses. Even deletion, additions, or nothing you should be doing here. We manage all of this through MassMailer UI. So even though ultimately, the licenses are assigned in Salesforce, but you should never go to this particular page to manage your licenses to MassMailer. That's incorrect. Just to let you know where you should not go. And that's pretty much it. I'm actually going to go to Salesforce. So once you have access to MassMailer setup, again, if you're not an admin user, you will not have access to this. Make sure that your admin does this for you. The way you would go to MassMailer setup is by going to the app launcher, go to the MassMailer app, the Lightning app, and then go to MassMailer setup and then users. So the users is a subtab here under MassMailer setup. And then this is the page, very simple, as you can see. The only three operations that you could do if you want to add more users, click on this plus and type in whatever the username is, and then provide the full access user for an example. And if you want that user to be MassMailer admin, not everybody can be admin. Just to let you know, you need special permissions in order for you to get the admin access. So we have not really, we're not talking about that at this time, what permissions are needed. That could be a separate topic. So basically, you can assign a license, make that particular user admin if they have special permissions. If not, just make them as a regular user and then just save it. If you do not have additional licenses, like if you have not purchased licenses, then you won't be able to add. You can see that you don't have sufficient licenses available, need one more license. So then you would need to purchase, right? So just click OK, and then come to us, so we can add a license that's going to be additional cost, and then you should be able to add it. So that's how you basically add. So once you select that user, click on Save button. And if you want to edit, there's a pencil icon. So you click on that. And if you want to reassign this to someone else, you can always reassign this to someone else and then hit save. I'm not doing it, uh, just to let you know. So the pencil icon is where you can actually edit. And if you ever wanted to delete, there's a trash icon. Again, I'm not clicking it, but there's a trash icon which you have to click and delete that particular license. Make sure you save that. I'm just going to go refresh this because I don't want to make any changes. So I'll just refresh this back, go back to the users subtab. Okay, so basically, you just start to remember plus, edit, and trash. These are the three important actions that you need to remember. And then if you ever needed to add multiple users, I mean, 1 or 2, 5, 10, it's okay. You can just do manual. But if it's hundreds, that's when you would want to use multiple users option. Or sometimes what happens is you may have the same name for two people and you do not know which one is the right one. That's when you can actually use the multiple users too. Sometimes you may have community portal and some of the users may have community users, and then it would show two names, but the license type could be different. In that scenario, you can actually use this multiple users option. You can figure out which one is the right one. Because we actually display the profile as well. By the profile, you would know, if they have the same name, then you would know the profile is different and select a different user. So if you ever needed to do multiple, all you have to do is select those multiple users, what type of a license that you need to assign, and click on add, and that's going to add multiple user licenses. That's as simple as that. And this is provided, the filter criteria is provided if you needed to, search through the profile or role or something on those lines, you can actually do that, right? And then, um, and the final, the assign permission set to non-MassMailer users. Again, as you can see, there's no license here. If you ever needed to assign a permission set to someone, again, all you have to do is select what what user you want to provide that permission set, and click on that button called Set MassMailer Permission, and then it would just show this message. That's it. We don't really show all the users who got the permission set here because it's, it may be too much. But all you have to do is click on this button, assign the permission set to non-MassMailer users. That's as simple as that. So that's it. That's all what you need to know on this page. And don't worry about this assign license to MassMailer guest user because this is done during the setup itself when we onboard you. So we typically take care of this for you. That's the reason why you see this read-only user, and it's non-editable. You can't do anything with this. That's mandatory, and it's grayed out. So anyways, you can't do anything with that. So actions for these users, make sure that you pick the right license type. It has to be full access user. I just want to quickly show you. So you would see full access user, read-only access user. These are the two mainly that people use. And sometimes you may have editor-only user. And again, these three are kind of like not common, just let you know, but we have those user types as well, license types as well. If you are using a portal or maybe editor only user. And then in the future, we're going to add a few more, but these are the 5 ones that you have. And if you ever needed to make someone admin, again, make sure that you turn this as an admin. And you don't need to turn this box as an admin for every single user because it needs certain permissions. Not everybody would have those permissions. So turn this on only to those people who you really want to give access to this MassMailer setup. Okay. And this is where you have to edit licenses. And now I would show you where you should not go. so that you actually know if somebody is making a mistake. So um, there's a common place in Salesforce where you can actually manage your licenses for any app by going to Salesforce Setup and then installed packages. And then once you go to the installed packages, you would go to this manage licenses and then edit or delete or add. Please do not do this. This will create issues. Then we have to manually do something in the back end, and it creates a lot of issues. So do not ever go to this place and manage users. Anytime you want to add, delete, edit, just come over to MassMailer Setup and users, and then do all those functions here on this particular page. That's it. That's all I want to talk about today. Anyone having any questions? Yeah, please put it in the chat window or speak up. So there's a question I have in communication team guys that create HTML, and sometimes we import the code with MassMailer template builder. Is there a MassMailer license type for this use case, as these people do not have Salesforce license? So unfortunately, if somebody needs to log into Salesforce, they need to have Salesforce license. At max, what you could do, provide them maybe community license, $5, I guess, that you can purchase community license if I'm not wrong. And then provide them access to the template builder only and get a community license from MassMailer, but you have to tweak in the community, make sure that you provide only the template builder access, nothing else to them. So a little bit of a setup is required, but it's doable, provided you get a community license from Salesforce and then from MassMailer, again, get a partner community or customer community license and provide them access to only template builder. That'll reduce the cost. But if they have Salesforce license, even if it's a platform license, then we have another type called editor only license for who we give access only to the template builder. So basically, bottom line is they have to have Salesforce license, whether it is community license, which is Experience Cloud, is what is called right now in Salesforce terminology. So either they have Experience Cloud license or platform license or the regular Salesforce CRM license. They have to have one of these access levels, and then MassMailer can be opened up for them using editor only license or community access user license and provide them access to only template builder. It's possible. Any other questions, anyone? Okay, so there are no questions. Once again, thank you so much for joining the webinar today. You would be receiving recording in some time, and also the presentation. And this is a weekly webinar, and I will plan to do this again. This is New Year. This is the very first webinar that I'm doing it in the New Year. And feel free to reach me or reach our team if you have any questions. And if you're new to MassMailer, we are happy to get you on a trial and get you onboarded as well. Once again, thank you so much for joining the webinar today. Take care. Have a good day. Have a good evening. Bye-bye. Thank you.